Donald Trump's return to the White House in 2025 wasn't just a U.S. event, it sent shockwaves across the globe. Leaders everywhere are adjusting to a presidency defined by bold moves and a relentless America First agenda, now applied to a world transformed since his last term. Trump's second act is a blend of old tactics and new challenges, with every tweet and policy shift scrutinized for global impact. Supporters see a fearless disruptor. Critics warn of unraveling alliances and rising instability. As the world reacts in real time, Trump's leadership is reshaping international relations in ways that will echo for years. With the weight of the nation and indeed the world on his shoulders, Trump's second term opened. The inauguration was a spectacle, a clear statement of intent for the next 4 years. It began with ambitious foreign policy moves, a flurry of diplomatic activity designed to reshape global alliances and address long-standing conflicts. His administration was determined to leave its mark on the international stage. One of the immediate priorities was border security, resulting in a sharp drop in unauthorized border crossings. The administration touted this as a major victory in its efforts to control immigration. This was achieved after tough new deals with Mexico, agreements that redefined the economic and security relationship between the two countries. These negotiations were often tense, but ultimately yielded significant concessions. Similar agreements were forged with Central America, aimed at addressing the root causes of migration and strengthening regional stability. These partnerships were crucial to the administration's broader strategy. Perhaps the most surprising development was his administration brokering a fragile ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, a conflict that had been simmering for years, with no end in sight. This diplomatic intervention was hailed by supporters as a diplomatic breakthrough, a testament to Trump's ability to bring warring parties to the table. It was seen as a major foreign policy win, though skeptics question its durability, pointing to the complex history of the conflict and the deep-seated mistrust between the two nations. Only time will tell if this ceasefire will hold. In another unexpected move, Trump also mediated a temporary peace between India and Pakistan, two nuclear-armed rivals with a long history of animosity. This intervention aimed at easing decades of nuclear tension, a constant threat to regional and global security. The world watched with bated breath as these talks unfolded. These successes fuel his narrative, reinforcing his image as a deal-maker and a leader who can achieve the impossible. It bolsters the idea that unconventional, direct diplomacy can resolve even the world's toughest conflicts, bypassing traditional channels and forging new paths to peace. Meanwhile, major investments in technology, driven by both public and private sectors, and cryptocurrency, are seen as crucial to maintaining America's competitive edge in the global economy. These investments aim to secure America's economic future and global tech dominance, ensuring that the United States remains at the forefront of innovation. The world is watching, carefully analyzing these developments and assessing their implications for the future of global order. The international community is keen to see if these bold moves will bring lasting stability or new risks, and whether Trump's unconventional approach will ultimately succeed in reshaping the world. Trump's America First doctrine, a cornerstone of his foreign policy, represented a significant shift in how the United States approached its relationships with the rest of the world. It prioritized American interests above all else. This approach has fundamentally made alliances transactional. Traditional alliances, once built on shared values and long-term strategic goals, were now viewed through the lens of immediate benefit. Alliances became valuable only if they delivered clear, tangible benefits to the U.S., with a focus on economic gains and burden sharing. This meant re-evaluating existing agreements and demanding more from allies. A prime example is how he pushed NATO members to commit to higher defense spending, arguing that the U.S. had been unfairly shouldering a disproportionate share of the financial burden. He celebrated this commitment as a win for the United States, a tangible demonstration of his America First policy in action. However, this approach sparked tension and friction with leaders like France's Macron, who advocated for greater European autonomy and questioned the long-term viability of a purely transactional alliance. Trump's preference for direct, personal diplomacy, often bypassing traditional diplomatic channels, became a hallmark of his foreign policy. This approach has, at times, led to rapid breakthroughs in negotiations and agreements, surprising many observers, but it also left allies uncertain and anxious about U.S. commitments, as personal relationships could shift quickly and unpredictably. Furthermore, relationships with autocratic leaders such as Putin, Kim Jong-un, and Xi Jinping have notably warmed under Trump's leadership. Conversely, ties with traditional democracies, particularly in Europe and Canada, have often cooled, marked by disagreements over trade, climate change, and security issues. This transactional approach forces nations to rethink their alliances and strategic partnerships, knowing that U.S. support is now conditional and subject to constant re-evaluation. Some see this as a pragmatic and necessary correction, arguing that it forces allies to take on more responsibility and contribute more fairly to collective security. However, others fear that it erodes the trust and shared values that have historically underpinned global security and stability, potentially leading to a more fragmented and dangerous world. The result is a more fluid and unpredictable world order, where traditional alliances are being questioned and new partnerships are emerging. This new landscape is undeniably shaped by Trump's disruptive style and his America First vision, leaving a lasting impact on global diplomacy. Global opinion on Trump is sharply divided. He's seen as both strong and dangerous. Surveys show most people abroad view him as arrogant and unpredictable, yet also as a decisive leader. His confrontational style commands attention but inspires little trust, fueling anxiety among allies and adversaries alike. Many credit him with bold leadership, but fear his willingness to upend international norms. Trump's impact is undeniable, but the world remains wary of the instability his actions may bring. This duality, strength without trust, defines his global reputation. Donald Trump's second term in office has been nothing short of a whirlwind, marked by a series of controversies that have ignited global debate and drawn sharp criticism from various corners of the world. His policies and actions have consistently challenged established norms, reshaping international relations and domestic landscapes alike. One of the most contentious issues has been his ambitious plan to redevelop Gaza, a proposal that was widely condemned by international bodies and human rights organizations as a blatant violation of international law. The plan sparked outrage and protests across the globe, with many questioning its legality and ethical implications. Further escalating tensions, Trump authorized a series of airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites, a move that sent shockwaves through the international community and raised serious concerns about the potential for a wider, more devastating conflict in the Middle East. The strikes were seen by many as a reckless gamble with potentially catastrophic consequences. In the realm of trade, Trump's aggressive use of tariffs has been a defining feature of his economic policy. Measures like the imposition of a 25% levy on Mexican goods, ostensibly aimed at protecting American industries, have had far-reaching and often unintended consequences. These protectionist policies have strained key diplomatic relationships with long-standing allies and significantly disrupted global economies, creating uncertainty and instability in the international marketplace. Critics vehemently argue that his unilateral actions not only undermine established diplomatic protocols, but also disregard fundamental humanitarian norms, eroding trust and cooperation on the global stage. However, his supporters staunchly defend these policies, claiming that such bold and decisive moves are necessary to break through long-standing stalemates and advance American interests in a complex and competitive world. Each policy decision, each controversial action, forces the world to react and recalibrate, often leading to unpredictable outcomes and unintended consequences. The result has been a deepening polarization, not only within the United States but also across the globe, as opinions on his leadership and policies remain sharply divided. Whether it's the ongoing conflict in Gaza, the escalating tensions with Iran, or the disruptive trade wars, Trump's unconventional approach is hailed as visionary and transformative by some, who believe he is ushering in a new era of American strength and prosperity. Yet, it is equally condemned as reckless and dangerous by others, who fear that his actions are undermining global stability and jeopardizing long-term peace and security. The international community is left to navigate the complex and often treacherous fallout of his high-stakes decisions, grappling with the consequences of his policies and the uncertainty they create. The debate over his methods, their long-term implications, and their ethical justifications is as fierce and polarized as ever, with no easy answers in sight. In 2025, Trump's economic strategy centers on aggressive tariffs and tech investments to secure U.S. dominance. The 25% tariff on Mexican goods forced negotiations but strained North American trade and alliances. Trade tensions have spilled into NATO, with allies like France criticizing the contradiction between defense unity and economic warfare. At the same time, Trump is pushing massive investments in semiconductors and cryptocurrency, aiming to reduce foreign dependence and lead the digital economy. Allies are caught between compliance and confrontation, while rivals see U.S. moves as protectionist. Supporters believe this will strengthen America. Critics warn of a fragmented, less prosperous global economy. The long-term impact of Trump's economic gambits remains uncertain. Trump's legacy is fiercely debated. Is he a visionary reshaping global politics, or a disruptor undermining international order? Supporters point to peace deals and stronger alliances. Critics cite global condemnation and instability. His America First approach has forced every nation to reconsider its relationship with the U.S. The world is left to weigh the evidence, tangible achievements against deep divisions and anxieties. Trump's leadership style challenges the foundations of the post-war system, leaving a legacy that will be debated for decades. As the world adapts, the true meaning of his presidency remains an open question.